The i7-4820k is a CPU from 2012. Does it still hold up today? Let's find out what this can do in the modern world of intensive tasks and games. I tested this CPU with a P9 X79 Pro motherboard, 64GB of 1600MHz DDR3 RAM, and a NVIDIA GTX 1660 as well as a SATA SSD. Before we turn on the system, we notice some problems. First of which is, where do we put our NVMe SSD? While you could use a PCIe to NVMe adapter, good luck getting Windows to boot off it without a tool like Clover. Another problem with running such an old platform is finding a cooler that doesn't cost more than the CPU. To solve this, we bought the cheapest CPU cooler on Amazon that looked like it might be able to cool 130 watts. And after drilling, it worked perfectly and had enough cooling to even be able to run a light overclock. You may also notice the board is loaded with I/O, at least by 2012 standards. You'll find a distinct lack of any USB-C and only one internal USB 3 header compared to the 2 or 3 of modern motherboards. What it lacks in modern I/O makes up for it in USB 2. 3 internal headers. SATA is another one of this board's strengths, supporting the 10 SATA ports. We tested Cinebench R23 and got a multi-core score of 3475. However, overclocked Cinebench, we got a multi-core score of 3670. GTA was quite playable at high settings, 720p, getting around 80 FPS casually driving and 60 FPS, occasionally dipping in the 50s while in a high-speed chase. Overwatch 2 ran at high settings 720p and it got around 130 FPS and dipping to 110 while in action. Forza Horizon 5 ran very well, capped at 60 FPS 720p while the CPU was at 30% utilization. We also tested Cyberpunk 2077 at high settings 720p while the CPU getting a little bit hot. We did get a choppy 60 to 70 FPS, dipping to the low 50s during some parts with high intense lighting. Minecraft ran horribly at 32 chunks, render distance, 1080p, and it was on 100% CPU usage, getting a laggy 30 to 50 FPS. And I would say that this is not playable at all, even for the average user. Counter-Strike 2 ran at a mid-60 to 100 FPS at 720p. And this is very playable unless you have a high refresh rate monitor. Starfield ran at 65 to 75 FPS 720p during the tutorial. CPU usage was 70 to 100%. And this is perfectly playable for most people. In the Far Cry 6 benchmark, high settings 720p, we got an average of 63 FPS while having it dip in the low 50s. Overall, ran pretty well, however, maybe a little choppy in the highly scenic parts. So that concludes our testing of this crappy CPU. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.